Hello, welcome to episode 2 of our Park Closed podcast, where we review the episode which was released last Thursday, and it's basically a good place for us to discuss strategies, additional stuff that we could include, and for us to come up with excuses on why we did what we did, even though it was quite clearly the wrong thing to do. Obviously, Nicky and Lewis are with me again, and we've not got Luke because we have at the last minute decided just to give Lewis a bit more editing time.
Thank you.
To do this episode a little bit earlier. He's still on holiday, not committed enough to join us from his lovely trip to Corfu, which means he hasn't seen episode 2 yet, and the rest of us have, so duh. So we'll just dive straight back into it, shall we?
Yeah, let's.
So we go back to the balloon pet, which is questionable.
Mike, he's got a name.
On Wicker Man. Oh, Mike, yeah, sorry, Mike. Or Stuart Little, as you both said.
I enjoyed that moment so much.
It was completely unplanned, as far as I'm aware. You didn't set that up beforehand.
No, and funny enough, I love that film, and Lewis is always like, nobody loves that film, so that's why it was a little bit special for me.
It's a bit weird.
I love it, it's great.
It's true. It's true, no one loves that film.
Well, me and Luke do.
Wow, so a lot about your team.
So yeah, we go and score the Sky. We get kicked out of Oblivion, which we just at this point we are starting to get pretty frustrated because everything just seems to be a hard slog. We have to do it the hard way. We land on Skyride, which we can claim for free. So obviously Nicky got a bit confused about this in the last episode, but yeah, Skyride and if the Skyride and the monorail are closed, you can claim them by just going to their entrance. If you can't just go to any entrance, it has to be the right one for the thing. But if a ride is closed, it's just tough. You can't really do anything with that. The best case scenario is technically if you own a ride, let's say you own the Smiler, and then it closes for 2 days, and you get it locked in forever after that. Because even if they land on it, they have to pay rent still.
But it's also worth noting with that as well that you don't have to, if the attraction is open, you don't have to get on at the one that you've landed on. So I think you guys got on at the entrance, but you'd landed on the car park, but they still were at the car park because they got off at that station. So that does count.
You got the either or, didn't you?
Yeah.
You got the option to do what you wanted there. Then what have we got? Oh, then we go into our funny feature, which is common throughout the episode, which is closed ride update. It's the new sleeper hit of the series, and I think there's going to be a spin-off just called Closed Ride Update.
Yep. And
that channel is going to do even better than this one. That's what I think. So the closed rides, it got to the point where this episode because the whole point of this video, of this series, is obviously I do vlogs, and we moan on the vlogs quite a lot. And theme park enthusiasts are known for us being highly critical of stuff. The idea is to make, this stuff is not that, this stuff is more it's just us being silly. We've created this stupid little game. But the closed ride situation became so bananas on that day. Alton Towers has its bad days, Merlin have its bad days, but my god. So the way we could get around that, and it became such, particularly in this episode, because we see it so heavily, was to make a funny thing out of it. I'll try our best. And it's because we do talk about it a lot in this episode. We mention it a lot, or we land on stuff. This episode is the one where we just roll the dice. We roll the dice so often in this episode.
Yeah, I think it's important as well to tell people that the rides are closed, because they might be thinking, why didn't you go and try and get on the Wicker Man to lock that set off, or why didn't you go and try and get on 13 to go and start that set? It was important for us to tell. It might sound like we're moaning, and we kind of are a little bit, but it was important to say, like, right, the reason we're not doing this half of the park at the moment is because half of this park is closed.
And that's where most of our tickets went. Like, me and Luke particularly noticed that, like, at one point we were rolling and our tickets just going and going and going because it's just closed ride, closed ride, closed ride. So I think for the sense of the game, we had to say it, because otherwise all our tickets would be going and everyone would be like, why?
And also I'm going to jump forward a bit actually, because it actually links into what I was going to say. It then forms much later in the episode when we're sat on the monorail and me and Lewis are just talking about it and going, why don't we just not bother trying to get rides today?
Yeah.
It was a great strategy. We should have done the same thing. When we landed on Nemesis, I said when we were watching it, me and Luke should have done exactly what you did with the Smiler there and stopped and just got, that's what we should have done.
Because Nikki said in your head you thought, and why? Because you knew the rules. You thought for some reason both Nikki and Luke thought that we had to ride the Smiler today.
I don't know why, but we both, I don't know where it came from, but we both got it in our heads. Because I've played it before and I knew it was the same as the last season. We both thought that at the end of the day everything just resets and starts. I don't know why we were in that mindset. Like I say, when you're playing it, there's so much going on, you can't explain why your brain does certain things, but that's why a lot of the weird things that we say don't really make sense, because in our head we were like, it resets today.
We had to put the message on the bottom because when you guys were really happy that the Smiler queue was getting longer and longer, and it made no sense, so that's why I put a message on just saying, you think we're going to ride the Smiler, but we've already seen that me and Lewis have already decided. Lewis came up with a strategy of like, bank that in for next week when we're coming back, because that's a great one to actually start on.
Yeah.
It's a steal of 3 stars. And again, it becomes part of the strategy.
Because I think as well, when you got the Smiler, there was still, I don't know whether it comes across very much on the episode, but there was still quite a big chunk of the day left. So I think in our head, we weren't even thinking about the end of the day. We just thought, oh, there's 2 hours or whatever left. We just assumed, I think, and then that kind of stuck, I think, for the rest of the...
Getting that and then combine, obviously we're forced to do tasks because of the ticket situation, we run out of tickets. Getting that and our combination of actually we want to just do loads of tasks, because hopefully if we do tasks and we're successful at them, next time, and we knew it was going to be a few weeks ahead and the season would have, and we knew it wasn't going to be like a bank holiday. Well, to be fair, bank holidays at Alton Towers are actually relatively quiet these days because everyone thinks it's going to be busy. But we knew the future date wasn't going to be mental or as mental as the opening day, so we started planning for that. We knew it wasn't going to be like a Saturday in the school holidays or during like school trip season, all that sort of stuff. We knew that, and I think I'd still stand by like that was. I mean, you'll see whether it comes off or not, but that's the only strategy really that I thought we had, because like Nikki points out, like they need to get in the queue now if they want to do it today, and you have the same problem at the end of the episode. You roll on stuff and you get, oh yeah, I can go and get them. Oh no, we can't because it's 90 minutes and there's only half an hour or an hour. I can't remember roughly what that time was about then. But you say, Nikki said whilst watching the episode, like we should have done the same.
Yeah, because we were just got it in our heads. Well, we've still got an hour and whatever left of the day, and in our heads, like we need to get like the star, because you've got to remember as well, the point of the game is to get the stars, and then the tickets kind of will come in like afterwards. So I think that's what we were stuck on for a lot of this game, was like we need to get the stars. When you can, and an hour and a half or whatever it was, to not be able to get any stars is a long time, and actually that would have been a really good strategy to do.
No. So yeah, we get. I don't know if we've explained this, but the reason why we call Get Set Go the wrong name all the time. I think we did explain this, but on the spreadsheet we are using to play the game, it was called Go Set Go, not Get Set Go. And then add on to that, they have another ride called. Is it Go Jetters? Is it
I think so.
Yeah. So that's why there's so much confusion. So Go Set Go, Get Set Go, or Go Jetters, it's all the same ride. It's Get Set Go.
Yeah.
Which we ride and we filmed on, because you can. The rules are sketchy on this because everyone was filming on there, but I think technically you're not allowed. So I don't. But same with Postman Pat, technically you're not, but I don't know. But either way, no one said anything, and we had our phones out literally as we were leaving the station. Also, both Postman Pat's now gone.
Yeah.
Never coming back for a new roller coaster, which is coming in next year. And that little footage of going around and Get Set Go, that track has changed now. It's a lot shorter now than what it was in there. So that was actually quite nice to include that in the video. Power-up cards. So we introduced power-up cards. First power-up card that we get, which we get the season pass one, which will come to in a second. So power-up cards are there to again add huge chunks of chance to the game. They can really help you out. We saw later they got 30 tickets just off the bat. Nice little bonus that. Nice little bonus. As much as Luke was disappointed.
Yeah.
He wanted something to really shake the game up, I think.
Yeah. But equally they can just absolutely stump you. They could if you're winning
Well, we had the
you can
lock
actually-
the set one, didn't we? We had lock the set, and we couldn't do anything with that. Like,
Yeah, but there's also cards in there like they'll say if you're winning on stars, you have to just discard it. So they'll only help you if you're losing.
yeah,
Or if you're winning on stars, you lose a dice. Or if you're losing on stars, the other team lose a dice. So they are really weighted like that to just, even if your team isn't the one pulling it, it's to kind of try and balance the game a little bit.
yeah.
But they are to chance, and there's some way you could just lose like 50 tickets just off the bat. Just like brutal ones. There's ones that send you to jail. There's also there's the get out of jail free cards, like stuff like that are all in there as well. Luke does a really good actual explanation when he's in the Wickerman queue of all between Nikki and Luke. They work out quite a few different possibilities, which is actually quite nice to see because the season pass one, at first you think that's great, loads of rolls, and we only thought in post-production of just rolling loads to get our cash. That would have been probably the most, even with the risk of landing on stuff, because there wasn't a lot of rides on the board then, there was just the Smiler. So the only risk would have been if we pulled a bad power up or if we went to jail.
Yeah.
They'd be the biggest risk. And obviously at the end of the episode you saw that they have just rolled on go to jail. So we'll cover go to jail in the next episode. Big cliffhanger. Well, no, that's not the cliffhanger. I suppose the task is a cliffhanger, but big thump at the end there for the purple team. Luke did a great job explaining that, and actually you guys were coming up with strategies. Maybe because you were more settled in your queue line, you had time to think.
Yeah. It's very different when you're playing it, kind of like in a rush to work out what you're going to do, than if you've got time to stand and think about it.
And I wanted to make the most out of that. I wanted to make the most out of that 15 minutes, the best we could. So yeah, we go on the car park monorail. We actually get onto the park and just get off of the car park monorail. We managed to get one extra. We stop on the monorail, which I know it stops quite frequently. I know that's quite common, but I've never stopped on the monorail. It's the one time when
Doesn't happen often. Doesn't stop often.
it's just waiting for the next train
Yeah.
to clear. It's all fine. I get that. It's not broke down or anything, but it's just like the one time when it needed to be. Anyway, we did make it, and that's why there's not a big tense sequence about it, because actually we made it, so it's not there. We got one more roll in. So it's quite common for the monorail to stop. We could have done that with it last year, Lewis, when you were I say running against it.
I was running against
it. So the ticket method. So it's funny because we come up with that strategy quite early, don't we, Lewis? About just
using the
tickets
day
up.
to get the tickets for the next
And then
day.
what we do is we completely ignore that method for the next 2 to 3 hours.
Yep.
Because we keep rolling, because I'm like, yeah, but what if we got something with a roll? And then we get stuff which isn't like Smiler, which is the one we settle on and try and hold that for a bit. They're all little ones that we can just, or power up cards that sent us to the Fountain Square. I don't know if that's massively clear in the video, but it just says that the card is literally like go to Fountain Square, both on the board, as in like we have to move our physical piece, and in real life. It's just a time waster essentially. But yeah, and we can claim the Fountain Square Sky Ride, so it could have been a good card. If they had it, or we hadn't got it yet, great, we got an extra little bonus ride, but we already had it. So it's just literally a walk to Fountain Square. But then we get to steal Postman Pat, because they took Postman Pat and we took it back off them.
That was
pretty quick,
sad.
didn't we? Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Well, no, because I remember we were at Postman Pat, and then we got something to send us to Fountain Square, and we walked all the way to Fountain Square, and then we got another roll which sent us all the way back to Postman Pat.
Which, watching it back, you go, it's not that far. But they are tiring days. They are
It's
tiring.
25 minutes.
It is so much work. I know there's a lot of walking in theme park days anyway. I'm used to that. But it felt like it was a lot just back and forth. But yeah, at that point I was like, oh my god, I can't go back to Postman Pat again. I've just come back from there.
With very few rides in between as well, to be fair. Very few rides in between. Also, we've got the Octonauts litter picker. I got a good reaction from because Nikki hasn't seen.
I forgot that was a thing. Yeah, I forgot.
I enjoyed that a lot.
we think that's for the super manager that comes down. All the managers have their own little pickers. We think that's for
In fact,
that's for when Louis drops his sunglasses on the track. Is what that's for.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but they always walk around with litter pickers. So I think that, like when a management team comes down, they all just carry it like a massive inline type thing, keeps them all together. Did you ever, Nikki, have another strategy which you wanted to look at? Because your strategy has been since the start: we land on it, we ride it.
The thing is, though, this is what I've noticed with watching this episode, and I feel like there's going to be more of this to come. Me and Luke will come up with a strategy, and then we roll, and then we change our strategy straight away. So we don't stick, and I think if, fingers crossed, we do a season 3, that's what me and Luke need to look at, is we need to actually have strategy, because whenever we do have it, we don't stick to it. So no, I don't know. I think we just kind of went with it a lot and just kind of went, well, let's just see what we can do with what we've got.
We did the same thing though. We had that, like I said, the monorail was on my notes, the car park monorail is like a third down, and there's a lot that happened after that. And we only started our ticket hunt in the fact we had to. We had no choice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, quick word on how the tickets work. You shouldn't ever go negative. Now, due to an issue, which if you can spot it because you'd notice it in this episode if you're looking closely at it, you shouldn't ever be able to go negative. The idea is if you owe tickets, you have to do a task to pay that off, which is exactly what me and Lewis are doing now with the Nemesis Reborn challenge. However, if you actually do the calculations and you're looking closely, I'm not going to say what it is, let's see if anyone spots it. However, that does resolve itself in the next episode, like almost straight away. So it's not a big deal. I didn't want to make it into trying to explain why that happened or whatever, because it ultimately doesn't matter. But it is in there, but the tickets can't go negative is the idea, so you can't just keep rolling and going into negative tickets or anything like that, just so everyone's clear. I'm telling you that now though, so you know the rules.
Yeah.
So you've learnt all the rules then.
I do know. I'm almost there. I'm almost at 90% knowing the rules at this point.
I like how you're almost at 90%.
Almost at 90% knowing.
What else have we got? So Nikki, I've said that about the strategy. And Spinball being closed was funny. And then you roll onto 13, which is also closed.
Yeah.
But then you do get Marauders.
Yeah.
Marauders.
Yeah, Marauders.
Which you're slightly happy about.
I think by that point, we were just happy that we could do something that wasn't a huge queue, was actually open, and we were just excited to just go and actually do something, because I think we were starting to get a bit worried as to our tickets are fluttering away and you guys were catching up, and we were just excited to get something.
It was also a bonus, like it was the Wicker Man set, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So that was huge. So a set will get you, again, just a reminder, like an additional bonus star, or if you get all 4 stations, you get 2 stars because they're easy to steal. So when we saw that come through, it was just like, of course. The bit of music that I use when we're walking to and from Fountain Square is literally called Down on Your Luck. I was like, of course they've just got that. But then we do get a bit of good fortune with Postman Pat, because obviously that gives us a set then. And Luke was a bit confused on that, and you see that actually when they're in their lockout period. They're like, why have they got an extra star? It's because the bonus stars, it's not amazingly obvious on our spreadsheet when the bonus star's been awarded. So, but yeah. So when that came up, bear in mind we knew Postman Pat was a smallish queue. That lifted spirits slightly, because my God, before then we were down in the dumps. And then when we walked out, they closed CBBS. Literally, if we'd have got that 20 minutes earlier, 20 minutes later, we wouldn't have gotten it.
We felt lucky with getting it and then it closing right behind us. It meant no one could steal it after us, which was lucky.
Okay, and then we get to ChatGPT Articulate. I say then we get to, actually, we've bounced a bit, but that's fine. And you guys react as if like you've just been docked 8 stars and you now have to go to Thorpe Park and back.
Because I don't do well under like pressure. If you put me on the chase, I could know the answer. And because I'm under pressure, it won't come out. So I was panicking because I was like, I'm not going to be able to do that.
So the way we've done the graphics for that is I wanted you guys to be able to play, not you guys, but the guys actually watching, to be able to play along a little bit. It's hard because if someone answers quicker than you can't do it. So they're blurred out until Nikki gets them right. And so some behind the scenes on this, right? I don't know who was counting the 60 seconds, but I've been through that footage several times. And you'll notice the clock. Again, if people only watch the main series, they won't know that this happens. But you'll notice the clock only comes on about 30 seconds left, right? Now, ultimately, none of this matters. So it doesn't matter. Now, if this was the final task, and this was won, and it somehow led to them winning the game, oh boy, would it matter? But they had at least 67 seconds, I think.
I think what must have happened.
Don't know how this happened.
I think what must have happened, because you can kind of, like you say, you could kind of see it. I think I've pressed like go on my watch, and I think the button must have been sticking. So I thought we were going. Luke started, and I'm fumbling to try and start the watch. I think so. I think my watch has started after. Yeah. Because you can see me kind of like fumbling with it, and I was like, I don't know what to do now because it's already kind of started. We should have just started again, but I was kind of like, let's just go with it.
Ultimately, it doesn't matter, so therefore it's in as it is. But I'd be we're getting the VAR out again.
Yeah, the VAR would definitely be coming out if that was like the last task of the game show.
Or even if we'd have won it, I'd have been like, you know what, fair play. I'd be annoyed at that if we'd have actually won it.
I think you did alright on the task. I purposely didn't include the answer to the one where Nikki said Luke was flapping. I wanted to see if anyone could actually get it in the comments.
I think that's the one that lost it for us.
So 15-minute timeouts. Now, here's another bit of behind the scenes. Timeouts were half an hour again. They were half an hour until, I think, after we started the game. I think it was one of them where we agreed it. We were and ahhing all the time of whether we do half an hour or 15 minutes. And half an hour feels like, on our older game, the first game, season 1, half an hour fine when the park is moderately busy. However, and this is something we have to think about in the future, like we might take a couple of rides, take their average, and have a system where we go, right, at 11 o'clock, if the rides are so busy, this is what we use for the day. Like we use 30 for the day. I don't know how that would work, but we knew there was no timeout for the hide and seek task because we didn't want someone just stuck for. Not only have they not really tickets, we didn't want them then stuck. But then it became apparent how busy the park was, how many rides were closed when we were all both looking. So we had a very quick chat whilst no one had been like.
Timed out
hindered by it, timed out yet, and said, do we move this to just 15 minutes because we're going to spend, like, if we have 2 lockouts today, that's an hour, and therefore that's an hour with us doing very little other than producing absolute comedy gold. So we decided 15 minutes, and my God, was that the right decision for the game in general. Just because it's another thing as well, like don't forget we have to roll and it's chance based a lot more than season 1. Season 1 we can decide, do you want to go and ride that? Let's go and ride that. We just decide. Can't do that in this one. So moving it to 15 minutes was a real good thing to do.
Yeah.
Also the challenge task, that was only decided I think as I was driving, or decided and confirmed. I know I wanted to do some sort of task. And I
Didn't
said
you
to
come
Mark,
up with a really insane one? You came up with a different one.
It wasn't for me to decide what the task was. I just said to Mark in the morning, I said, we need to do a task. Can you somehow come up with a task? Because I want it to be action-packed at the start, and he picked a great one, to be fair. The hide-and-seek one was perfect for this, because we're not in a queue, we're not being interrupted by someone. So the idea was that we don't know what the task is, and when we pull it, we're both like, right, what do we do? Because otherwise we could start planning for it or strategise for it early. Whereas this one, like we didn't know where the location was. So even like Lewis and Luke didn't know where the location was. So it's a really good one to do. But it was actually a phone call, and I was travelling to Alton Towers in the morning. I had like a half an hour phone call with Mark saying we need to start the video off with something, because this was a rush, because we knew we were going to Alton Towers on opening day anyway, just as
we always do, don't we?
Yeah, because we love the chaos, we love the drama. It's the drama, Mick, we love it. But then when the series did so well in January/February, it was like we want this momentum to stay, and trying to get all four of us in the same place. Like, we've not even managed it for the podcast. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a hard thing to get us all, not even in the same place. We're literally all spread out through the country.
Yeah.
So there's only kind of opportunities for us to do it. But yeah, there's literally, like I said, I was worried. So getting the game design done and all the mechanics of using a spreadsheet to make it work and make it work well on our phones and making it easy enough that it all works.
Yeah.
To be edited. We did sort of throw it together a little bit, but the task. I'm so glad we did, because it means we can start with a fast-paced task rather than we're both trying to, I don't know, spin a coin. That's like low, really small type thing. So yeah, our strategy is keeping the smiler. That's in the back pocket. So ideally, I think there's a couple of hours left of the day. So whether that changes or not, who knows? But right now, that's our strategy to keep the smiler for the second day.
Yep.
You guys finish off on the curse.
Yeah.
Oh, then obviously, then you land and you're off to jail.
We are
so
indeed.
I think the only thing I've got left, I think, on my little list is the Nemesis Reborn task. Now, obviously, we can't talk about the outcome yet, whether we get it or whether we don't get it. But Lewis watching it back, I mean, you can say yourself, Liz, actually.
It was a roller coaster of emotions just watching it back, to be honest. I think there was moments where we thought we're never going to get this done. By the second train, it was like, we're never going to do this. And then by the third and fourth, you're like, oh no, this might work.
Could be
this
a full
could work. This could work. So, and we all know that, like, the chances of, like, there being a full train or it being completely empty is hit and miss. You obviously always want a full train, and it was kind of frustrating seeing that many empty seats across a 100-minute queue for Nemesis. But yeah, it was. I forgot how close it was going to get towards the end of it. Like, I thought we were timed out ages ago. I thought by the first train we was like, from thinking back, it was like the first or second train. I was like, we blew this. But I was like, oh no, actually, I can't actually remember how this works out now. I can't actually remember whether we get it or not.
Obviously, it's a daft cliffhanger, and I know people are like, the cliffhangers. We don't like the cliffhangers. It's entertainment. It's how it works. We have to put a cliffhanger in there. And also, you can watch the next episode and find out right now if you remember.
Yes.
Don't forget that.
Yes.
If you already remember watching this, then you still have to wait, because you've already had your pie.
Don't spoil it for the other ones though, because they might not know.
Yeah, so please don't comment on the original one like, oh, this is what happens.
Well, to be fair, that's the thing though, but what's weird about that is, I'm going to say the J word, jet lag, is they released it obviously a week earlier on Nebula, and there doesn't seem to be any of that.
I think it's because the people who are members are people that are really into it, and I don't think if you're really into it, you just wouldn't want to do that. I think.
Yeah, you're not going to.
Of course not.
Yeah.
Of course not.
You're a good egg, aren't you? If you're a member, so you ain't going to do that.
They're the best eggs. We like all the eggs. Well, I don't like any eggs.
You're a Cadbury's cream egg.
Yeah, that's quite rude, that, Nikki. But okay.
Not you personally.
So we have no seats left, and that's where we're up to. And if we get it, it's just another chunk of tickets. We can pay them back. If we don't get it, we're locked out for 15 minutes, which means our little strategy of just doing tasks is up the Swanee a little bit.
Yep.
I think that's it. We've actually come on time as a half an hour episode there, which is not a 2-hour long podcast for you to edit down.
We like to talk.
We do like to talk. Well, Luke isn't here, so it means we can really cut down the waffle.
Yep.
I'm trying to think of anything that Luke would want to add, but I think I've covered it.
Oh, the cockiness from Luke. That clip just makes me so, like, it explains, because every time we hear from Nikki and Luke after the day, because at the end of the day, we all sit in the Alton Towers hotel and we go through every run, we go through block by block, blow by blow, what happened. So I have a rough idea of what to do, how I'm going to edit, or just an idea. Otherwise, I've got to watch through every single clip, which, to be fair, I do anyway. But
Yeah.
We just like to have a bit of a debrief anyway, don't we?
yeah, and one thing we kept hearing is like, oh no, we're not being too cocky. Now, to be fair to Nikki, and to be unfair to Luke, because he's not here to defend himself, but I'd say season 1, Nikki's cockiness levels are very low. They barely register on the cockiness-o-meter, right? But in this season, oh boy.
Luke rubs off on me, but I did see it, and you can see it a little bit in this episode actually, and there's a lot more off camera. I do very often say to him, Luke, you are getting too confident. Like when he's saying like, we've got this, like we haven't won, like we're not winning, like we've got a long way to go, things can change. But
when he's shouting at 1 p.m. on day 1 of a 2-day game, bear in mind on that day it goes till 7 p.m. the first day, because we're the winners.
Yeah.
Down the
Literally.
lanes.
We're gonna
Like-
But I
win. We
think
know
he
that we're
rubs
winners.
off. And I think his like thrill of winning rubs off. And I think because we did like the last one, he was kind of getting me excited. Like, oh, actually, you know, we might do this. We could do this. He does rub off on you. To be fair, he's an infectious little soul. But
He is.
But yeah, but I think that's part of the fun of it, because I think he brought out my competitive bit a little bit more, and it makes you want to do well, I suppose. So it's not all bad.
And you were, I mean, in the last season when we were winning, it does. Again, this is all stupid. This is not real. These are graphics that I've made in post-production. We're actually playing it off a spreadsheet. It's amazing that we actually care
Oh yeah.
about what is happening, and it affects our mood, and it affects, for better and for worse. Like, it is slightly weird that all that happens when actually we shouldn't care at all. We should just go on whatever ride
We don't win anything. It's not like we're on Race Across the World or something, okay? We don't
Yeah,
win
there's no prize
anything
in
at the
it.
end. Other than a tea towel. Like, was it a tea towel or a beach towel or something you got last time? But we just
Yeah,
care. We
beach
just
towel.
really enjoy ourselves and we really get into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because if we didn't, you'd know that watching it, and it'd be worse to watch.
Yeah.
Right? We just don't do the challenge for the sake of it. Plus, I just want to destroy Luke at every given opportunity.
He really did
always
think
fun.
that. He genuinely thought Stuart's going to be hating on me every step of the way, and I think that's why he like bashes you so much, because I think he's expecting you to do it back
He is
and then to
quite
be
funny,
like a
yeah, he is.
rivalry. It just doesn't.
He is expecting me in all my clips, and in the first clip, I do say like like literally when I'm stood there by myself in the hide and seek challenge, I do say like Luke wants to be really competitive. In particular, he wants to beat me.
Yeah.
Because he gives a lot of stuff. But other than that, I barely speak about Luke whatsoever to Luke. Like there's nothing that I don't give a lot of trash talk at all really. But Luke is like, I cut so much of it out. Like so much of it out. I'd say at least half, if not more, of the stuff he has a go at us as a team.
I think
I
it's
put
because as well, like you've got to remember, we're all friends in real life. We all go on holiday together, and Luke and Stuart particularly have a very like banter relationship. They're constantly ripping it out of each other, and I think he just couldn't get out of that head frame. I think he just thought you were there.
I think also because we were losing as well. Like when we're winning, it's easier to like stop. But like I say, me and Lewis just like every time we roll the dice, like, okay,
Not again.
yeah. But yeah, that's it. So, like I said, if you are a member, you can watch next week's episode and next week's podcast right now. I think, yeah, because this comes out on a Monday, so you'll be able to see next Monday's already. So that's 2 things you can see in the week. How was that? Other than that, I think that is it. We are going to episode 3 of 5, where we're hopefully going to get a full trail on Nemesis, and you get to see what jail entails. I'll be quite honest, slight spoiler, it's very similar to jail on the Monopoly board.
It's a very fun place to be, if I recall.
Well, it does mean, because there's a lot of time in jail, so it does mean teams are able to go freestyle a little bit with no time pressures, which is sometimes a good thing and a very poor thing that I have to edit.
There's a lot of footage from our jail time.
So that's it.
Yep.
Any more for any more, you two?
No, nothing
that's
from
it for me.
Okay, well, that's it. We shall see you for the next episode of the Park Close Podcast, which will be in a week's time. Other than that, thank you for watching.
Thank you.
We'll see you soon.
Bye.